Okay, so a lot of you guys have been wondering what the best settings for your aim on MW3. Now, this is what I personally like and what I personally believe is the best settings to have the best aim. Okay, first things first. I use tactical. Second of all, we got to go to your dead zone inputs. On by default, I'm going to show you guys what they look like by default. This is what it looks like. This is absolutely horrendous. You do not want to play on these default settings. Your left stick should be at 4 or 5, depending on your preference. I like mine at 4. And your right stick and your left stick maximum should be on around like 50 or 40. And the reason behind this, when you do things like this, it allows you to have a faster response rate on your analog stick, where if you were to want a full sprint forward, you don't have to move your analog stick all the way up to be able to do it. It's kind of like reducing input lag. And your left stick minimum, I like it at 4, 3, or 5, one of those. It's all preference. Try them out. Right stick minimum, same thing, you want it on 5, and the maximum on the right stick, because you're actually aiming with this, you want it to be on the absolute maximum. By doing so, you'll be able to have full capabilities of doing micro movements and very, very long movements precisely. So that's for the dead zones. Going down to the aim settings, okay? I use tactical. I think I showed you guys. Yeah, I showed you guys. And going down to the aim settings. All right. So when I play competitively, that means S&D tournaments or Warzone or any of the sort, I like to use either 7.7 or 6.6. Those are my go-to sensitivities. And don't touch any of these. I don't touch any of these. So don't touch any of these at all. I don't touch this either. Make sure that you put your aim response curve type on dynamic. This is by far the best and most natural response curve on Call of Duty. I've tested all of them. This is the way to go to be able to beam at long ranges and close ranges consistently. Now, your ADS sense multiplier, you could put it down here if you want to, but this affects all scopes and all ranges, and I'm going to get into that later, don't worry. ADS sensitivity transitioning timing, make sure this is on instant. Very, very important. And personally, your boy likes to use custom sensitivity per zoom. My low zoom, I have it on 85, and anything with the scope is on 90 or 95. So these are my ADS zoom sensitivities, okay? Aim assist type, I have tried all of them. Black Ops is sort of good, but default is by far the best. Stickiest aim assist for sure. Yeah, that is what you need to do for the best possible settings when it comes to your aim. Now, moving on to your movement settings. This is very, very, very important, okay? Automatic tack sprint should be on. If you really, really, really want to move like a demon, if you want to be the movement king like Joe Woe, make sure to turn on automatic tack sprint. I have never played with it. I played with it for a little bit in Verdansk. I liked it in Caldera as well. But in these games, I kind of like to have a little bit more control over my movement. So I like to walk sometimes, and with auto tack sprint, you cannot walk sometimes unless you walk sideways. So I take off auto tack sprint and I put on this beautiful setting right here, single tap to run. So when you tap your analog stick once, you don't go from like running to sprinting, you go straight to sprinting. It's beautiful. It's a great setting to have on. It's basically auto tack sprint, but you just have to click your analog stick once. Grounded mantle, airborne mantle, all these need to be off. Trust me, this is going to increase your gameplay a lot. You're not going to accidentally mantle on things and it's going to get you killed. Trust me, this is very, very good to turn off. Now, this is by far the most important setting that just came out with the game. Trust me. Trust Daddy Moo Moo. Make sure your slide and dive behavior is on slide only. Not tap to slide. Not tap to dive. Slide only. And let me tell you why. This removes the delay from sliding. The delay that we all hated during the beta. This removes it entirely and makes it a completely and instant responsive slide. Reason being behind it, the game is not confused by your input decision. So when you click your sliding button / diving button, by doing slide only, you're removing the diving button, which doesn't confuse the game on your input decision, which makes the game believe you only want to slide instantaneously. This setting's amazing. Trust me, put it on for demonic movement. I felt the difference instantaneously. And I think everything else here is preference, guys. If you want to try it out, go for it. This is all preference, not the special settings, all preference. Multiplayer, make sure it's tapped to reload. And when you play Warzone, make sure it's prioritized interact, the interact reload behavior. Yeah, it looks like about it. That is the aim settings video. Moving on to the graphic settings. So to have the absolute best possible graphics and the most possible frames, this is what I use. I average around 300 to 350 frames in multiplayer. I have a 4090. I've got a great computer, but these are the settings I do use. Display gamma 2.2, NVIDIA plus boost. I use NVIDIA reflex low latency. This helps with input lag. I've been loving it ever since I've used it. Focus mode, I have it on 100. All right, quality. This is by far the most important setting here for console players and for PC players. This right here is very important. Make sure to turn on fidelity casts and make sure that click show more right here. Square, click square, because this is by default set to 80. You want to set it to 100 for best possible graphics, super, super crisp and clean vision whenever you have your fidelity cast strength at 100. Okay. Texture resolution on high. That is a personal preference. I recommend you play on very low. I recommend it. The game's not going to look too beautiful, but for the people that can't afford a very, very good computer, this is the way to go, very low. Honestly, put every setting on very low if you don't have a very good computer, but if your computer can run good settings, these are the preferred settings that I like using that make the camos look very, very clean and the game very, very clean while still getting a lot of frames. Texture filter on low. Depth of field is off. This makes it, if you have it on, it makes your iron sight and your gun like a little blurry. It's not fun. Trust me, you don't want that. Detailed quality level low, very low. Bullets on. Persistent effects off. Shader quality on high. Shadow quality is very, very important. I haven't played the game enough to understand if it does work in this game, but in every Call of Duty that I've played so far, shadows are very, very important. You can see them when people are running in buildings. You are able to pre-fire people and get ready for them before they turn the corner just because you see their shadows. So make sure your shadows are on, preferably on high. I like them on high. Screen space shadows, you don't need any of that. Turn that off. Ambient occlusion off. Static reflection low, near. Max terrain memory. I feel like this helps render in the map a lot better, so I have it on max. Volumetric low. Everything else should be on off and low. And for field of view, when I play Warzone, ladies and gentlemen, I use 120 FOV, but for multiplayer, I've been dabbling. I've been trying 115, 110, and 105. And personally, the one I was competing with, I believe, was 107 or 110. One or the other. And it was very, very good. Now, another really good tip that's going to help you with your aim and your gameplay. Ladies and gentlemen, when you go to the field of view page, please go to the ADS field of view and make sure it is unaffected. It makes it a lot smoother. At the end of the day, if you want a more arcadey, old style Call of Duty, like the older games where you didn't have this option, independent is the way to go. But affected is the updated, better version that I personally like. Now we're going to keep scrolling down. Weapon, world motion blur and weapon motion blur, get it out of there. You don't need any of this. Trust me, film grain, absolutely none. And make sure that your camera movement is all the way on least, so when there's explosions and things that make your screen shake, you're going to minimize all that screen shake, which allows you to be a lot more accurate in your gunfights. And that is about it. I hope you guys enjoy. Try out these settings and let me know what you guys think.